Hey guys, welcome to Finally Clicked, the podcast where we discuss business, leadership, and personal development. My name is Margaret Smith, and I'm the Director of Operations for Pickett Street Properties, a real estate team out of Bothell, Washington. And I'll be here every week with our owner and team leader, Jesse D. Moore. We'll be digging into concepts and ideas that have helped us both personally and professionally. And you'll also get a chance to hear from local and national experts that we know provide massive value to get to the point where it all finally clicks. Hello, Finally Clickers, and welcome to another episode of Finally Clicked with Jesse D. Moore and Margaret Smith. I am in my new podcast position in the studio, ready to enjoy myself and entertain you all with some
witty banter.
Yes.
There's such a ray of sunshine this morning.
Nonsensical words, witty banter, organized thoughts, and ways that we create business in the real estate world when everyone else doesn't.
Look at you.
How was that for an intro?
It is bright. It is airy. It's purposeful.
Uh-huh.
It offered a prelude to the content that's
Thank you.
right around the corner.
Thank you.
You talked about situational awareness,
Mm-hmm.
how to put yourself in a winning position as you begin a podcast.
Mm-hmm. True.
By making sure that you're comfortable, relaxed, in an ideal situation.
Perfect. That's
for the
exactly what I wanted to
microphone.
portray.
I mean, it's like you've done this before.
I guess I have.
The only thing I don't have is caffeine, like a cup of coffee.
Have you had any?
I had 2 shots of my protein shake today.
What does
That's
that do?
my
Does
new-
it change the taste? Do you have it's like a caffeine smoothie?
I don't think it changes it that much, but my kids think it changes it dramatically.
Oh,
So
I've tried it.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
Well, it is a pretty great way to get caffeine is to add just 2 shots into my protein shake. That's my breakfast in the morning.
You just reminded me. They have extra shot Fridays, and so they put an extra shot in my coffee. I wonder if that's why I'm so hyped.
Maybe that's what it takes.
Just an extra shot. Zing. Ready to roll. I also got some good sleep. Let's be real.
Good sleep is
Yeah,
important.
that's super
Paramount.
important. Paramount.
Yeah. It is, I have to say, like, I've been so much healthier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny. I was just talking to somebody. I don't think it was you. I think it
About
was
health?
friends about my age. So I'm 43, and I feel like I'm finally grown up. Like I've, like in the
I'm not
sense-
there yet, so maybe that's the age because
no, like in the sense of like where you eat the things you're supposed to eat,
yeah.
not because,
Yeah.
like I think we've talked before, like so much of my life was about abstinence before I was an adult, like no sugar.
When you have all
No
those
alcohol.
restrictions that are put on you by other people, then it
didn't-
becomes your decision to make.
I
them.
remember
Yeah.
walking through the grocery store as a kid with my mom and being, I can't wait until I'm an adult and then I can buy Eggo
Wow.
waffles or I can buy
Yeah.
all these things I never got to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a very health conscious home. It was just very restrictive, and it probably hurt me in my adulthood.
Well, it does make me think about when you're raising kids, how do you introduce things in a way where it's not total restriction? They get to experience it, but it's but you understand that you're promoting health and good eating, and it's interesting because people will usually go the complete opposite direction,
Well,
right?
okay, so
And
Jill
indulge.
had to work this morning. I had to work out this morning. So when that happens, when Jill,
Yeah, because you both leave early.
well, yeah, she leaves the house like at 5:45 in the morning. I leave the house before that to get to the gym. So there's about an hour where the kids are home alone, asleep. And then I get home and wake them up. And so today I get home. It's just Braden. I wake him up and then I go get ready. And on those days, the kids kind of know I don't have time to make them breakfast. I don't have as much time, right? And they're old enough to take care of themselves, like to dress themselves,
Yeah, sure.
be ready. And I come out after taking a shower and getting ready for the day, and Braden's eating a candy cane. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, what? I go, what are you eating? And he goes, a candy cane.
Like it's
And
so
I said,
duh.
did you have breakfast? And he's like, no. and he doesn't have socks on. Like, and it drove me bonkers. Like, so he doesn't get dessert tonight.
Yeah.
Which I never got dessert ever. And so I like that our kids have access to dessert because I feel like they won't go off the rails when they become an adult. And then, but today, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that he, as an 11-year-old, 10-year-old, thought, you know what, it's totally fine for me to have a candy cane before 8 o'clock in the morning, before breakfast, before everything else.
Yeah.
So anyway, as a 43-year-old adult male, I finally have like a brain that says, hey, you should eat something good for you. Or, hey, listen to me. I'm trying to talk to you about what I need and want.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm almost to the point where that happens naturally. And then as I was talking to someone about this, they said they were reading an article where it said that it takes, on average, 44 years for men to fully mature.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, like
oh my God.
Not physically mature,
mentally?
right? But to mentally
that
mature.
Makes so much sense.
And so I'm 43. I'm like, I'm an overachiever. I got it in a year early.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did it say the age for women?
Well, and where this came out of, this conversation, was watching The Bachelor, which is a shit show.
We've talked about that.
Right? And these women are immature and the men are immature. And
it's like the joy of watching
Peter is a
people
little
in just
boy,
total distress.
doesn't know what he wants,
No.
doesn't know how to,
That's stuck.
be in control.
Yeah, he's really... I didn't watch it this last week. I'm behind.
Anyway. All right. Great intro, Margaret.
Thank you.
Well done.
I'm happy to be here.
Today we're going to be talking about
The hustle.
five ways to get off-market property.
Five.
Okay. And the reason I feel this is a relevant topic is largely because our market inventory is super low. Demand is super high. We're seeing multiple offers on properties. Jessica wrote an offer on a property in a county north of us, which is less desirable generally. And generally there's less demand. And so far I think they have 9 offers. Like first 2 days on market, 9 offers. So our clients are having to compete.
Helps when you have an experienced agent who knows the people and can write us like sincerely awesome offer.
Yeah, and it also helps if you have a few other arrows in your quiver.
Ooh.
Arrows
in
if
your
you're an
quiver.
agent that only sells properties that come on the MLS, congratulations. You're going to starve to death. Our last 2 transactions that went into escrow were off-market properties. I'm showing an off-market property tomorrow.
Oh.
So it could literally be 3 of our last transactions could be all off-market properties.
Yep.
And so we can't just sit idly by and wait for the right property to hit the market. We have to take action and go out and get some. You know what I'm saying?
Go out and get some.
All right. You ready for this?
So ready.
All right. So let's just talk about some of the different ways we've found success with finding off-market properties, and I will try to wax eloquently in between.
Perfect.
Number 1 way to find an off-market property. This comes back. I've probably said this more than once on this podcast. I know you've heard me say it more times than you can count.
I'm curious. I haven't heard you say wax eloquently in a while, so that can't be it.
All right. Number 1, find homes, market those, not yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very common for real estate agents when business gets slow to think that they should pay for leads.
Yeah.
And one way you could do that, or to spend more money marketing yourself. And I just think that this is such a mistake.
Zillow, TV shows, all sorts of stuff people do.
TV shows, videos, Instagram things, Facebook things, but celebrating like your brand, your face, your brand, your
and not doing
team.
it for free, paying someone money to do it. Yeah.
And so I was in marketing for real estate agents before I became an agent myself. And what I learned from that is that people are looking for homes, not a real estate agent. So when when I got into real estate, I focused on that. I focused on finding the right homes that would generate the lead. And so I would look for super desirable homes. Generally, that would be like traditional number of bedrooms, traditional number of bathrooms, and then something extra. Like could be space or seclusion, could be an awesome outdoor area, outdoor space like a deck or a covered deck, could be a shop. Like there's so many different ways. And so different ways to find homes that are not on the market and to market those homes. One is to go through old leads. So one nice thing is every time I do a listing presentation, I have a manila folder with that client's name on it. And I take notes on the outside of that folder. I have folders that are years old. I have folders that are 10 years old. And every once in a while, like right now, I go through those folders and I call every single person and I update our records. Some of these have desirable features like a shop or a mother-in-law or a house hack or something like that. By going through those old leads and updating them, I'm staying in touch with them, and it's making me aware of some potential off-market opportunities. Meaning, I'll ask them and I'll have a conversation with them. Hey, if I had a buyer that very specifically wanted what you have to offer, would you consider selling this off-market? I think this works great for niche properties. If you find someone that has maybe a unique setup like a mother-in-law or an apartment, what we call a house hack. I think a property with a shop is a very desirable feature in our area. Anything else you can think of? I know you're not a real estate agent, but you market our properties and you know what people respond to.
I mean, we just as a little, I guess, extra side note to that. Great photographs really help. So when you find a unique property, one that has really good photographs, it just helps communicate what the house is about to the potential buyer. So, I mean, yeah, the things that you mentioned, those, I think we run into people all the time that are looking, especially for like an outdoor shop or an additional unit or just space, and that maybe that reflects like what's happening in our area. We're running out of space.
Right.
And King County and beyond. And so people are still looking for homes on a little bit of property.
Yeah. Or it could be a view. Like views. If you want a very specific view.
I love my view. That is hands down one of the reasons why I bought my place. Yeah.
So,
that's a good one.
Also, in regards to finding homes and marketing those, we check new listings every day. So everybody on the team, every agent is trained.
That's a habit that you train right away.
To look at every new listing, single family, every new multifamily listing, every back on market listing, and every price reduced listing. And we do that because these searches are only as good as the agents that put the information in the MLS. If they happen to miss a radio button for something like a shop, it may not come up in your search. But if you are diligent and you go through every listing every day and you look for keywords like shop or mother-in-law or apartment, then you may. I've found so many properties that a search engine didn't pick up for one reason or another. And when you find a property for your client that they couldn't find, and that's the coolest
feels like
thing
a really
ever.
cool,
Because they're looking and they're using these search engines and they're depending on the information being good and viable.
When you say like, I think that's yet again another way that we differentiate ourselves from other people is that there's so much possibility and room for human error in real estate because agents, if they don't have assistants, which most don't, they're responsible for inputting all their information for their listings. And so often you've shown me listings that are totally not done correctly, and so they're doing a disservice to their clients.
So
horribly.
Last night we have a client that's looking for something with a shop on it, right? So there's several different ways I can look for that information. So I had The Bachelor on. Jill was working on her puzzle, and I'm looking through listings. It's perfect that we're watching The Bachelor. I can zone out. And so I find this. There's this one. I laugh and I show Jill, this is what I have to deal with. So it said home with shop was the search. And so this person had checked off a radio button for shop.
Yeah.
And what it was a picture of a garden shed.
Are you kidding me?
And like a super old house.
Oh, good God.
And like the main photo was of this garden shed. And he was marketing it as a shop. If you can't park a lawnmower in it, it's not a shop. If you can't park a car in it, it's not a shop. If you can't park your tools in it, it's not a shop. This person marketed a shed as a shop, and that's disappointing for everybody.
How do we take this information and educate all of our possible clientele and consumers on, the fact is we're all, this just makes me think of so many things, like it's upon all of us to sharpen each other's swords in this industry, because there's no way to control these people that get their license and don't know how to properly market a home and serve their clients. It just blows my mind that they would, that's one small example you gave, and I'm sure there's countless others.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly how to do it and not be like, thankfully our MLS has like a whistleblower tool where you can notify them if an agent is misrepresenting a property or if they've categorized it incorrectly or if they've checked the box for shop and really it's a shed. Like there is a way to police those listings. I just wish that consumers were more discerning in who they chose to work with.
Yes.
Because making a mistake on the input of a listing,
it's huge,
can dramatically affect the exposure of that listing.
It will absolutely affect the price that you'll get and the people that are exposed to what you have to sell. Yeah.
All right. So number 1 was find homes, market those, not yourself. Just using the MLS, using old leads, looking for unique characteristics of homes, and then checking new listings every day. Mm-hmm. All right, my number 2 suggestion for finding off-market properties, door knocking. Mm-hmm. So this could be, you could door knock around listings. So we have a listing. So let's just say we have a listing. We get multiple offers on it. This is a Craig Rieger tip for 90 listings in 90 days, is they would list a property. They would door knock prior to the open house for like a neighborhood-specific open house. And then if they got like 5 offers, they would select the winning offer, and then they would door knock the neighborhood saying we have 4 other buyers that are willing to buy something like this home in this neighborhood. And so they were able to put deals together off market that way. So
purposeful door knocking. Yeah.
Purposeful, and knowing how to leverage your story.
Yeah.
So if you do get multiple offers, knowing how to make that a benefit to you by doing the work and knocking on doors. You can also do door knocking for specific buyers. So Jessica right now has a very specific buyer with very specific needs in where she wants to live. We pulled a list through our title company, our title rep. We mailed those homes that matched the criteria of what she was looking for. And Jessica can door knock those homes as well. Another friend of mine, Grant Weaver, who's in the office, will drive the entire map of Edmonds or a city and then literally keep track of every dilapidated or rundown home. Yeah. And then that becomes a list that he door knocks and mails to.
Yeah. And how many people, if you just had to make a guess, let's say out of our county, how many agents in this county do something like that? Drive the neighborhood and track properties?
Well, probably in our county more than most, because I think we have a very savvy consumer. We have a lot of competition from non-agent sources like wholesalers. So there's a lot of people that are hustling outside of their day job to try to find off-market properties. And so I would say there's very few agents that do it and quite a few wholesalers that do, and quite a few wholesalers that do it. So, but door knocking around those things specifically, so around your listings and then for specific buyers with very specific criteria, And then also looking for wholesale opportunities as you go is my number 2 way of finding off-market properties. What do you think so far, Margaret? Hanging in there?
Well, I like knowing about this stuff. Like we were saying earlier before this episode, there are a lot of admin that listen, and admin like to know. And so I've realized how fortunate I am to be in the know. Even though I don't have my license, I'm aware of the different ways to do this, and I can help. I can help talk to other people about it when we teach and do things. It's nice to be in the know.
Number three on the top 40.
Ooh.
John. No, I'm just kidding. Number 3 way to find off-market properties is contact your sphere of influence.
Oh, yeah.
And your past clients. So, Diana Kokoska. Diana. I had a coaching call with her one time, and she just told me if I contacted 10 people from my sphere every day, I'd have enough business for the end of time. And at the time I was busy and I didn't do it. And like a lot of advice I've been given, I see the gold in it later. And so when things are slow and you don't have a lot of inventory, reaching out to your sphere of influence can be a great way to find off-market properties. Either you're contacting them and you've helped them buy this house and you're aware of what their house provides. But also you're asking them if they know of anyone that needs to sell or buy. You're asking them, do you have anyone in the neighborhood who's looks like it's getting run down, or that they don't have the time or the money to maintain their property? You got to find a way to activate their RAS. You got to find a way to trigger a memory with them.
Being specific can help with that.
Yeah. So for instance, I called somebody who I was helping, and she was moving to be like a wanderer, vagabond.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, great. I can't help you. Is there anyone you know that is thinking about buying or should be thinking about buying? And she mentioned her son. And so because of that question, I got in touch with her son. So if you don't ask, you're not gonna get what you want.
Yeah, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
The answer is always no. Or there's no answer.
It makes me think about that exact same rule applies to when we're looking for recruits. Being specific, like you said, helping. The only word that comes to my mind is sparkle. Helping sparkle their RAS.
Oh my gosh.
So that when I ask people, I say very specifically, do you have anybody in your friends group that you would refer? Or do you have anybody in your work circle that you would refer? Like being more specific helps people think. If you're too broad, they won't have any suggestions.
I can see the t-shirt now.
Sparkle your RAS.
Sparkle your RAS.
Writing it down.
Man, we're just powering through these. We're going to be over in no time.
We're doing good.
Yeah? All right. Number 4, networking. Networking, I think this is very purposeful networking. One, network with wholesalers. There are people in your community that are either licensed or not licensed that have already done the hard work. They've already done a farm, or they've done the door knocking, and they have off-market opportunities to sell. And you can work with them to put those properties in the hands of your investors or your owner-occupied buyers. So I work with a handful of different wholesalers that know they can always bring me a property once they have it under contract, and we will shop that to our buyer database. We've sold properties for wholesalers before. It's a unique opportunity for our buyers to buy something, again, off market, and creates win-win for everybody. The other kind of networking I would focus on is niche gatekeepers, and that would be like divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, tax attorneys. Really just start to network, find a lane and network within it. So a lot of people I like having multiple streams of leads. The heyday for us was when we had short sale properties and we had REO properties and we had
Auction,
flip
yeah.
properties, investor properties. And so having like 5 diversified streams creates consistent paychecks. And so this is when inventory is low and demand is high. That's a good time to start to establish networking with niche gatekeepers.
I like that.
You're a gatekeeper, Margaret.
I love that job.
Yeah?
You know, gatekeeper makes me think of like someone is in front of a gate with a really serious outfit on and you're not getting past. And especially being that I'm tall, it's even better. Tall gatekeepers are even more imposing.
A serious outfit on?
Yeah.
What's a serious outfit?
A serious outfit means it looks like I mean business and you're not coming through this unless you have a really good reason to.
You're funny. You're like the popular gatekeeper. People don't even want to talk to me. That's how good of a gatekeeper you are.
Hey, actually, that's true. That's what I've worked really
you
hard
don't
on.
want to talk to Jesse. Talk to me.
Talk to me. Come on.
Yeah. People go right past me to talk to you. You're a master at gatekeeping.
I'm really curious what your number 5 tip is. I feel like
you?
You've done the 4 that I know of.
I feel like we're gonna need another subsection of this show. Number 5. Tip for finding off-market properties is pre-foreclosure lists.
Oh.
Be careful with this and be sensitive about it. But you can pull a pre-foreclosure list either off the internet or through your title rep. A great example of this, Jessica lives in Arlington, Washington. It's a small bedroom community. And she knows a lot of people there. And so when I started coaching her about looking for off-market properties, she went through the foreclosure list and she recognized quite a few names of people that she knew. And she came to me and was like, what do I do? Like, I recognize these names. I know these people. And I just said, well, and we talked through a script of how she could help them, but come from a place of being a resource.
Yeah.
And being sensitive and saying, hey, I just wanted to reach out. I noticed that your property has been flagged for auction, foreclosure, and I work in this industry, and I want to make sure we know how to help you, you know, and if you'd be willing to let us help you, please let's schedule a meeting.
Yeah.
And so she did that and successfully negotiated a sale of a home that was about to be foreclosed on. And it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
The foreclosing party or the party that's being foreclosed on, they get some of their equity that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. The buyer ends up getting a house below market value because of the condition and time frame and circumstances. And Jessica wins because she gets paid a commission and helps her friends out at the same time. So make sure you review the laws in your area about how your ability to market to foreclosure, to people in foreclosure. Wholesalers can be very aggressive with these people, and so they can be a little more bristly, a little less inclined to ask for help or to accept help. So just be careful of that. And you can do mailing campaigns as well. So mailing and or door knocking on those foreclosure lists as well. But that's 5 different ways of hustling in markets where inventory is restrictive or too competitive to have a consistent business.
I also, just to add to that, One of the ways that I help out being a non-licensed person is when I know we might be looking for something in a certain area, I will absolutely talk to family or friends who live out there. So like my parents, being semi-retired now, are aware that we're always on the lookout. So they'll keep an eye on their neighborhood. If there's homes that could be available or empty or something, I would love to put them to work and have them door knock because they would just be excellent at that. So I try to keep an eye out for stuff as well.
Number 6, have Margaret keep an eye out for stuff as well.
As well. Yeah, those are excellent tips. And I would say just from my perspective, we talked about this before we came on to record this today, where there's a lot of things that we share in our classes and we share on this podcast, but it's amazing how many people don't do them.
Right.
And so a lot of people will come to me and say, why do you share that? Why would you, and the fact is I love being a resource. We all do. And we know that people won't do it. So you can listen to us talk about these tips, and unless you're willing to put something into practice.
Well, in 2008, I sold 3 properties, and I was in the business 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. And the reason I sold 3 properties is I didn't hustle. I didn't know. I kept waiting for inventory to hit the market. I kept waiting for the MLS to cure my problems. And that's no way to succeed. Mm-hmm. And so we are feeling a shift, or we're feeling a weird market where inventory is so tight that it's creating like this weird convex market. Like demand, it's a vacuum, and it's creating a void of inventory and a void of activity. And I can't just sit idly by and wait for the right listing to hit the market. Yeah. This time I'm being purposeful, and we're going out and we're finding properties, and we're going to put them deals in escrow, whether the MLS is expanding its inventory or not. Yeah. So that's one important way I'm different now than I was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So
I love it.
So tell your mom to tell her mom, this is how you hustle.
Do you want to talk at all about what we've been discussing recently about, this is one way that we differentiate ourselves from other agents, but we've been talking a lot about how do we market some of the things that we're able to do for and with clients, appropriately, because we never want to give out clients' names or private information, but there have been some examples recently where we've been like, gosh, this would be so great to tell everybody about, because the average agent doesn't know how to do this. And so what you mentioned earlier about an agent advertising a shed as a shop is such a great example. It's one example among many. But recently you've helped a couple clients get a lot more money than what they were going to get because of your experience. So now that comes with time, and also comes with the desire to hustle and the desire to be the best. So if you're a client out there and you know nothing about real estate, how would you recommend that they find the best agent? What is something that somebody can do when they don't have access to the MLS? They don't know Joe Schmo from Joe Schmo. What do they do?
Well, I hope first and foremost they interview multiple agents. And
that's allowed?
Yeah.
I recently had that question. I told a friend, hey, can we be one of the people that you interview? And she said, you people do that? And it's just a point of education. And so you recommend that they interview multiple agents?
Yeah, interview multiple agents. Really try to understand what the value proposition is offered by each agent. I've had lots of people not choose discount brokers recently because they've used that. What's kind of cool is when I first got in this business, there was no Redfin.
That's crazy.
Redfin came about a year later, about 6 months after I started. And so it was a threat to agents And I remember being worried about it and wondering how much market share they would take. And they ended up taking very little market share. And now it's the cycle. They've been around long enough, like around 12 years, that people have used them. And now there's a narrative out there.
Yeah.
There's experiences out there that you can refer to. So we have enough clients that have used Redfin that never want to use Redfin again. And
would it be okay to like say without names, like just the amount that we helped a client get recently?
Sure, if we don't say names.
Okay.
So we had a client that is closing soon, and his experience has been great with us.
It's been phenomenal.
He got an offer signed around within 2 days of going on the market.
It's beautiful.
Being on the market was very stressful for their family for multiple different reasons. They interviewed a few different agents, including Redfin. And I had another client that was interviewing multiple agents in the same market. And so since this transaction had gone so well, I asked if they would write a sentence or two about their experience with me that I could forward to these potential sellers. And when they sent me the testimonial, I learned something, and that was my suggested list price was $125,000 higher than Redfin's suggested list price. And mind you, we sold it in 2 days at that price. So the cost benefit ratio, it's hard to help people understand.
Yeah.
Unless you have stories like this,
Yeah.
right? So one great way to counter a Redfin objection is 6 figures.
I mean, nothing's much better than that. Like, I was literally like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I can market this. That's huge. And that's just one example of many from over the years that you've had.
Well, and to be fair, I got them more money than that, even a few thousand more.
Yes.
And then on inspection, I successfully negotiated away $12,000. So in total, let me add this up real quick.
It's just unbelievable.
That's about $141,000. I made them more than Redfin would have done.
Boom. Drop the mic, walk away. Like, you know what? I have nothing against Redfin and how they operate. I think what they started was really an interesting way to do the business. However, it's just still such a good example as to why you want to find someone who has the experience and the know-how. And
I was talking to somebody. So I did a listing appointment last week, and it was a very unique listing. And I had this confidence about it because I knew how to handle it.
yeah,
And it took 15 years of knowledge, of experience to get to the place where I knew how to handle it.
yeah,
And all of a sudden I realized what a game changer that is.
it's huge.
And so clients are in good hands with us because of my experience and the amount of transactions that we've done. I've seen just about everything under the sun. And when we're willing to hustle and we're willing to look for ways to get properties off market,
just like, as you know, I'm sure you do know, but I like to remind you, as an admin and someone who markets Pickett Street, I would hands down put you up against any other listing agent in the state and have full confidence that you would get that client. And so to be able to market something like that, and it comes across so clearly, I think, when I speak to people about you and about the business. Like, I would want no one else in my family or friend circle to list their house with anybody else because of that. Like, I don't think people get it. It's like
yeah.
And I have friends and family who have chosen to use other real estate agents, and it just blows my mind, and that's okay. But I think it takes time to incubate and for them to understand the benefit of using us. And so, your experience in the industry does play a part. So even though you might want to use your best friend, Susie, who's been in the industry for just 6 months because you want to support her, do you want to support Susie, or do you want to make $141,000 more? Like, support Susie when she's gotten to the 5-10 year mark, or, find a different way to support her. But in this situation, you have to think about one of your most important assets, which is your home. So,
yeah. I mean, for the last few years, I've been really focused on separating us from the industry's perception of real estate agents or the consumer's perception of real estate agents. And instead, there are times in life when we all have to do things we don't want to do. And what I mean by that is you may have to hire a lawyer someday.
Sure, yeah.
To get divorced or to create a will or to who knows what. But you want a good one. And in fact, you want a great one. And there's absolutely a difference between people that just pass the bar and people that are exceptional at what they do.
Yeah.
Same with doctors. Like if at some point in life you may have to make a choice on a doctor.
Oh my gosh.
That could save your life.
And you don't want a doctor cutting into you who's just started.
And so
yeah.
I want to offer the best of the best service to our clients, and I want them to know that that's what they're getting.
Yeah.
And that's our value proposition is that we're going to make them more money in less time and take away as much of the stress of home selling or home buying as possible.
Yeah.
We are their guide on this tour.
We are their guide.
We are the curator of
like
their
that.
experience.
Yeah. Let us curate this experience for you.
And that's something that I like to do in all things, right? I like curated experiences when it comes to food and wine and neighborhoods. Selling homes, buying homes.
Yeah.
Investing.
I'm going to have to use that. Let us curate.
So there you are.
There you are.
There you are.
Short and sweet and to the point. I like it.
Just another rainy day in Washington.
I know.
The rain is oppressive. You know how people, if
you know
you're
what? I haven't really felt
this,
like it's oppressive until recently. The last 3 days, I've had so many people mention this.
And you have this idea that Seattle is this perpetually rainy city. It is. Okay. So locals might try to talk you out of it. But this has been a really hard winter. I was reading today, Lake Stevens set a record for volume.
Oh, really? Well, there's a lot of flooding happening right now.
It's the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
It's the 7th of February.
Yeah.
And we have as much rain in the 7 days of February than we had in all of January.
That's crazy.
And January was a wet month.
Yeah.
Like we've already had 6 inches of rain.
I don't know what it means if I don't even notice it. Like if I don't really pay attention. Is that just because I'm a Seattle native? Like, do you pay attention to it on the daily?
Oh, Seattle native, really?
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Do you have web feet?
I think I do, actually, yeah. I'm the tallest fish out here.
Yeah, you don't notice because you grew up here. You don't know any different.
No.
No, I mean, it still affects you.
Oh, yeah. I know it does. The gray. Yeah. I mean, when it's sunshiny, man, I'm like this funny. Jacked up times 3.
Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday was beautiful.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
And there's so many people outside. It's like we're
people
like
throw off their shirts and they get.
We're like groundhogs when winter's over, man. Sunning our fat bellies.
It's true. You go to Green Lake and everybody's got their shirt off and they're like laying out.
It's so funny.
I love it. Love it.
Have you had anyone join you on your walks around Green Lake?
I do. If I tell people I'm going down there, they will meet me. Sarah McAdams is one who lives down there. She used to be in the real estate industry, and so we like to stay in touch, and we'll have dinner at Rosita's. So we'll walk the lake, and then we'll have a margarita.
I'm just saying,
the right thing to do.
just want when your like fan base is like at Green Lake 24/7. Just wondering if you're gonna come.
If I'm gonna show up.
Walk.
Well, regardless of my fan base, kind of like my mom, if I walk around Green Lake, I will probably see anywhere between 1 to 3 people I know, just because I grew up here.
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Yeah, my brother, one of my brother's ex-girlfriends, her brother and his wife, I see probably twice a week because I usually walk 2 to 3 times a week if I can, if it's not raining too heavily. And so I see them, and they're actually real estate investors. So we'll catch each other at Starbucks, and I'll just ask them what they're buying right now.
Who's that?
His name's Eddie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about one of your brothers.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's a place to be. Rain, shine, or snow.
I'm telling you what, this rain. There's flooding happening.
There is, yeah. They make it sound like it's like, I mean, I was watching the news last night, so I know it's pretty bad in some areas. But one of the newscasters was just, I guess I got more caught up in how he was. I was like, this guy's awful. I could do such a better job at announcing what he was trying to announce about this apartment complex was like needing to be evacuated. And he was like, let's listen to the cops. They're here now. And he was like waiting for them. They were announcing the evacuation, and it was just awful. His word, you would have hated his word. It was awful. Oh, God. That's one of the reasons I don't watch the news often is because they're so bad at just talking about stuff. And I get it. They don't have a lot sometimes to talk about, so they make stuff up or they add to it. But it's just like, God, report the news or...
No, the weather... Okay. Weather headlines are the worst in Seattle because the newscasters...
There's like not much to say.
Right. There'll be the tiniest skiff of snow. And they're like, pan down with me. And they move their toe in the snow and move some snow around.
Yes.
They're like...
Heavy flakes.
Sticking. It's sticking. Looks like it's going to stay, Martha.
It's the best. That's actually, I love watching the news on snow days because that's the most entertaining.
I remember there was this flooding broadcast, and this news reporter is in a kayak, like at an intersection to show how deep it is, and then people just walk by her. Like it's only this deep.
No way, really?
It's only like 4 inches deep.
Oh my God.
So she could stand there in her boots and her pants wouldn't get wet, but she's in a kayak to make it for effect, right?
Good
And then
Lord.
these people just walk by her.
Jeez.
It's pretty awesome.
Gotta love it. Hashtag Seattle.
Now you're hashtagging just your conversation.
I was thinking about it on the way here. Sometimes I'll speak out loud to do my text, So in my head now, I'm saying, really? Question mark?
That's like when Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon did the hashtag bit.
Oh,
Where they're talking to each other and they're like, hashtag,
yes.
hashtag, bomb, hashtag, yeah, hashtag, later, hashtag. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And that was
so
like
funny.
6 years ago.
That was a while ago.
So we're well beyond that.
Makes me laugh.
Hashtag.
Hashtag laughing.
Hashtag Seattle. Hashtag rain. Hashtag over it. Hashtag please
Blessed.
come out, son. Hashtag vitamin D deficient. Hashtag scurvy. Hashtag
Scurvy.
polio. Hashtag is real. Hashtag anti-vaxxer. Hashtag.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So many hashtags.
All right, everybody. We have houses to sell. We have to go beat the streets.
We do. Hashtag off market.
Hashtag off market. Make it happen.
Make it happen.
So
Thank you for these 5 tips.
thank you for your hashtags.
You're welcome.
Until next time, everyone.
Ciao.